Hey everyone, it's Tikva and Rina here from Mommy Life Squad. Welcome to our first ever Mommy Life Squad podcast.
So today we're going to talk about how Mommy Life Squad came about. We're also going to talk about our social media struggle. It's real.
Welcome to the Mommy Life Squad podcast, where we're going to be talking about
things that nobody wants to talk about.
All right, let's get started.
Okay, well, first of all, we're not used to this. This is very different for us. We're very organized in the way we structure our stuff in our life and our schedule and everything. So this is like very spontaneous for us. So bear with us. Here we go.
Okay, so we decided that we should probably start with our background and how our whole social media journey started. Because if you know Rina and I, you know that we are not pro social media. We don't promote people having it on their phones. So it may seem kind of like ironic in a sense that we both now do this as our living.
Yeah, just a disclaimer, we actually do not have social media on our phone. I think it's important for us to tell everyone. We have different devices that we put our social media platforms on. So yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I think that's very, very important. And you'll see why. We'll talk about that too. But first, let's talk about our background. How did we get into this whole Mommy Life Squad business?
Okay, so it started back in 2020.
COVID.
The COVID year. Rina lived down the block from me. And I had 2 little kids at home. I was pregnant. And Rina
had 5 kids, and we were both going stir crazy.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. The kids were home from school on Zoom, as you could imagine. I mean, you guys all experienced the same thing we did. We were on survival mode.
Yeah, and at the same time, I was actually, I was looking to start an Amazon business just because I've always enjoyed selling stuff online. I've been doing it since I was in high school, I want to say. So I just wanted to get back into it, and I was taking a course at the same time. And I was learning how to sell on Amazon. So it was one Shabbat afternoon, I think I came to your house. Remember that?
Right. We used to take walks just because, again, we were on survival mode. So we just took the kids out. We took walks. And Tikva had mentioned to me that she wanted to start something just stimulating at night, just for the fun of it, not even just to make money. I mean, your husband was still employed. My husband was still employed, but we were both just going nutty at home.
Right. And so I was taking this course, and I was telling Rina about it, and she was like, I didn't think she would want to do it with me. First of all, you have to know Rina.
I didn't want to take the course.
She has 5 other jobs. I don't know if you want to talk about your 5 other jobs right now, but she had 5 other jobs, but I guess because everything was kind of shut down.
I did nothing. I was just, not that I did nothing. Baruch Hashem, taking care of a family is very important, but I felt like I wasn't stimulated enough at the time. So when Tikva brought this idea to my head, I was like, yeah, I'm not stimulated enough. I'm not doing anything that's valuable during my day except for changing diapers and obviously feeding the kids, which is obviously something I'm not diminishing the fact that this is so important and it's our tafkid, and every woman should feel that being a stay-home mom is first and foremost on her list, and being an amazing wife and cooking wholesome dinners and all that stuff, which is Baruch Hashem what we all do and strive to do.
But you have to also realize this was a time when we were also in a kind of a survival mode, because we weren't used to having, Rina had 5 kids at home. She wasn't used to that. I had my 2 kids at home. I was pregnant at the time. We weren't used to that way of life of just having so many kids at home. It's kind of just needing an outlet.
Right. And it all happened at once.
Right.
Everybody was home at once, and I felt like an octopus mom. It was very overwhelming. And when Tikva started talking about doing something at nights, I was like, hey, I'd love to do something like this too. Of course, I didn't tell her at the time, because I'm like, what if she didn't want to do it with someone? So
and while I was describing what I was doing, I didn't think she would want to do something else. Yeah. But I think later that after Shabbat, you texted me if you want someone to do this with, I'm actually interested.
That was after a long deliberation. And I spoke to my husband for hours, and he was like, what's the big deal? Just ask her. And I was like, I don't know. What if she's too embarrassed to reject me? What if she doesn't want to do this with anyone? And so I braved it out, and I asked Tikva, hey, if you want to, maybe we could do something together, not thinking that we'd get into anything like
this, like social media. We did not.
Well, not even social media, but I didn't even know where it would go, because I feel like we were both just kind of just trying to pass time, but keep our minds rolling. And then if anyone knows Tikva, she's very meticulous about taking her work seriously and like very structured, and she's very techie also. So this was totally up her alley, and she was very excited to like start this. I remember at nights we would like talk about like different products that we would manufacture from China and bring them in, and I was like, what in the world are we doing? Like I don't know. Like we were little babies behind a screen, but like we were suddenly so sophisticated.
Yeah, and also I guess like it got exciting because this is like Amazon, and Amazon's huge, and to be a part of it. And when you look at an Amazon seller or someone selling on Amazon, you kind of are like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like it's, and then when we actually finally did get a product, which didn't do so well, but we finally got a product up on Amazon, it was like such a cool moment for us. Just to like see your work, the fruits of your labor on Amazon, it was just cool. Listen, it didn't go well.
Well, the first product actually didn't go well. The second product did. We were still learning, and that was fine. And our husbands made sure that we knew that, like, this is all a learning curve. Both our husbands are business owners, and they knew that it was, that this is something that we were kind of playing around with. We obviously took some of their money. we owe them money, actually. But we started off with their help, obviously.
Yeah. But also, I think, like, I had a lot of like hope. So when our first product did not do well, it was kind of hard to see that. We put so much time and energy into it. But listen, at the end of the day, it was a learning curve for us. The first product was, a lot of people ask us what it was. It was actually an under couch blocker. If you want one, we've got one for you. Just come pick it up.
We got more than one for you, actually.
And then we started with our second product, which was a stair basket.
And that was amazing. Like that, I really still think till today, like if Amazon didn't eat up all your money, like I would like convince Tikva to restock our items on Amazon. Yeah. But they've been really brutal about, taking, a lot of our profit.
Amazon is like, I mean, if you're in the Amazon world, you know this, but they take a good portion of your money, especially if you're doing Amazon FBA, they take a good portion of your money. So at that point, once we sold out, we're kind of like, it's not really worth it for us to continue with the amount of work it takes to get the product. And then actually, once you sell it, what you're taking home is really not worth it. So let's talk about how we got into the social media world.
Well, so if we want to backtrack just a bit, we really liked our product, but we just wanted to push it. And the only way to push it in 2023 is through social media. I mean, everyone's taking their business on social media now. Being that we both did not have a background of social media, we were kind of like hesitant, more than kind of. We were very hesitant. Do you remember our conversations?
And the first place we decided to start was TikTok, because TikTok in 2020, it like went through a boom, and it was like known for being the most popular thing, and everyone was on it. I guess because everyone was home, everyone was on it, and it was really growing. Yeah. It was a growing platform. So I think we first started with, it was called TNR Design. Right. It was our TNR Design TikTok account, where we made a video showing our blockers first.
Well, so it was a Motzei Shabbos, and Tikva sends me this adorable video of our blockers, the first item that we manufactured from China and sold on Amazon. And she put it to this very trending music underneath a couch, and she's like, do you remember that video? Yeah. And I was like, what? This is so cool. How did you make this video? Who helped you? Whatever. And then I realized, that was the first time I realized Tikva is super talented behind the scenes. Like, I did not even know, because I kept asking her, like, how did you do it? And she was like, oh, I just did it on my phone. And of course, now I got used to her talent, but and I showed it to my husband and my kids, and we're all like, this is so cute. So that went on TikTok. We got a couple of hundred views, nothing major, like maybe even less, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't like so big, but...
Right, and I don't even remember how we got to the hacks, because then we're like sitting in my living room, and we're like, you know what?
We came up with Mommy Life Squad name. We kept thinking like Mommy Hacks, Mommy this, Mommy that.
Everything was taken. I think we wanted to go with Mom Hacks.
Mom Hacks, yeah.
But that was taken. So then we decided to go with Mommy Life Squad. But then we created our first video, and that was the game board organizer one. And it was the game board one, right?
Right.
And we put that on our TikTok, and we're like, this is kind of fun, and we enjoy it. And if you know Rena, Rena is very, how do I say this? Like very good in her home. Like she just knows how to keep things organized. Her house is always neat. So I'm like, you have so much to offer. She has so much, like, I guess hacks, so many hacks to offer.
It's like really you more than me. It really
I like to look for hacks. I feel like Rena just does it, and she's like, this is a hack. I didn't even know it was a hack.
Yeah, a lot of that happened like that. That's true. A lot of it happened like that. And then we started to make videos, like cute videos to like trending songs. And I'll never forget that we started using like TikTok trending songs. And one of my sisters, were like, "You're not using like appropriate music. Hello, like, do you know what you're even like?" We didn't even listen to the words, so we're like, "Oh, they're bad. They're bad songs." Like some of them even had like really inappropriate language in it. So we started to like change up our music, or not even put non-Jewish music. We started putting like just
well, so at first I think we started like with we had the non-Jewish music, because in TikTok, in order for the video to get bigger or blow up, is to use trending sounds. So we would use a lot of trending sounds in the beginning, and then it was actually, I remember specifically when it was the 3 weeks. And I remember we're like, maybe we shouldn't use music, like, because it's the 3 weeks and you're not supposed to have music in the background. So then we started using more of our voice, and those videos went viral, like 1 million, 2 million views. Do you remember that? That was the original.
Avocado? No.
Yeah, that was when it started. Oh, so the avocado was really, really big. That was just like a 1 in a million chance.
So what happened with that video was that, so I was coming to Tikva's house. We were working from her living room, just doing a bunch of hacks. We were getting like less than 100 views on each video on TikTok. And then I told her that I saw this hack on how to pick the right avocado, and Tika was like, "It's not like you were like you knew about it." Yeah. You're like, "Yo, you knew it." And I was like, "Oh, whatever, we could just do it, whatever." Meanwhile, I didn't even bring avocados with me. Tikva happened to have had the 3 perfect avocados for our video. Like that was weird. Yeah. So I'm like, let's just do it. And
you also really never know. We thought, like, we didn't think anything of this video.
It's like a hit or miss type of thing. And so we started to videotape it. We posted it. And all of a sudden, I'll never forget it, like over Motzei. Remember over Shabbos?
I think we posted it on a Friday, and then we saw it Motzei Shabbat. We're like,
oh my gosh, we're famous.
It got to like, first of all, for us, again, we were getting like hundreds of views. For us, the video got to like 1 million views by Motzei Shabbat.
And then it grew exponentially after that. And then we got to like 32 million views within like a short time frame. And then we started to get tons of messages too. Remember that?
Yeah.
For collaborations and things like that. And then a ton of followers from that video.
So this was on TikTok. This was all happening on TikTok. TikTok, again, was going through some sort of boom. So once that happened, we're like, hey, maybe we're going somewhere with this. Maybe we should continue hacks.
And our video actually got translated in different languages.
Yeah, that video really like went far.
Yeah. And so once we thought we knew what we were doing, we were like, okay, we can do this again. We can find other hacks. And we just kind of kept the trend of doing hacks. But we did get a lot of people who messaged us saying, hey, would you like to collaborate and things like that. And we have done a lot of collaborations. However, just so that you know, I think this is also another important disclaimer. Anything we've tried or pushed or promoted on our page is something that we 1,000,000% believe in, tried it ourselves, and we know it's tested and true. Because otherwise we'll send it back. And I'll give you an example. I remember I was at Tikva's house and we got these like earrings. You remember that? And I was like, they're not that ugly. And Tikva was like, I'm sending it back. I'm not. It's so junky. It's so ugly. I can't. And I'm like,
the lady wanted to pay us to do it. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not promoting something that we don't believe in. It's not fair. It's not fair to the followers who are going to buy it. It's really not a fair product to promote.
Right. And we felt like that with so many other products. I remember like, oh my gosh, we're 12 minutes in. Like, okay, we didn't think it was going to be this much of our background talk.
Can I just say something, Kate? Sorry, this is completely like off topic, but the reason, can I talk about a little bit like why we started a podcast? So me and Rena like talk on the phone at night, and we have these discussions, and I'm like, we should totally start a podcast on it, because we talk about like AI, we talk about the whole pride movement that's going on right now. We just like talk about a lot of things. Like kids, we're like, we should have a podcast and just talk about mom issues that are going on in everyday life, the issues that we have to face with, the moms of 2023 that our moms of 1990s didn't have to deal with. The issues that we have to deal with.
Right. And we don't know if this is going to go anywhere. Honestly, it could be nobody's listening to this and we're just talking to ourselves, and that's fine. We're airing out. But it's important, I think, for us to also mention, which is the next part. I think we'll actually have to do another episode on this, is that like we are faceless, as you know. We don't have a face on our social media, and a lot of people have brought to our attention that if we want to grow, we have to get more personal, show our lives, our kids, our spouses, our vacations, and whatnot. We barely show anything. and we do that on purpose.
Right. So we feel like strongly, first of all, in a sense of modesty, of not showcasing your entire life. And that's one of the reasons why we don't show our face. It's just to show you we have good content. We have a lot of things to share, but we don't need to share every aspect of our life, because a lot of times it can become too much. It can push boundaries, and it can become a little bit unnecessary. And it could also stir up feelings in other people that don't need to be stirred up.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say this is a whole episode in and of itself, so I'm going to restrain myself from talking about this, because anybody who knows Rena knows that this is all I talk about. It's the unfortunate situation that we're in the social media world, and how people, their whole lives are changing because of it, and how negative it is. And I understand that it's businesses and people need it to grow, and it's changed the world in so many great ways, which I beg to differ.
No, but there are its truths. Okay, this is something that we're going to talk about in a different episode, because me and Rena have our views, but
more bad than good. I'm just saying, I had to throw that in there. Yeah, continue.
Well, I think it could all be channeled. There's ways to channel it, for right and for wrong. So
100%. And actually, we've heard podcasts. I mean, what are the brothers that live here in LA? Aryeh, Ben Susan. I heard their podcast. They talk about social media, how it could affect you in a good way or a negative way, and you have to make sure you channel it in the right way.
Right. And also the bottom line is we don't want to affect anyone in the negative way. We want you coming out of watching our videos that you're just it's just a positive thing that you've gained. Not in the end of the day, we don't want it to we don't want to show our vacations and all that, because you're only going to see the good side of it.
We don't vacation. I'm joking.
No, you're only going to see the good side of it. You're not going to see the tantrums that my kids are having on the vacation.
Which is why we have something on our page called Reelstagram, one of our highlights.
On Instagram, yeah.
On Instagram, we have something called Reelstagram, because we're showing real life. And I know a lot of people are starting to act more vulnerable on their social media accounts, but this is purely lishma. We want you to know that whatever you see is what you get from us. And we try, aside from when we make collaboration videos and we want our setup to look clean and organized for the actual video.
Because our house is not always that clean and organized. Rena's is. My house is not always that clean and organized.
No.
But
yeah. Anyway, I think we're talking too much. It's already 16 minutes in, and our goal was to get this episode done in less than 10 minutes. We're curious to see what you guys feel about this. How do people know?
We would love feedback, so that people can actually message us on Instagram, on WhatsApp, message us and let us know what you'd want us to talk about. Maybe a controversial topic that you'd want us to discuss.
Yeah. And if anything triggered you today, too bad. I'm joking. Let us know. Let us know so we can trigger you even more. No, we want to hear, because this is girls get together, they have their talks, and we want to make a Kiddush Hashem. We want to make sure that we're not causing any issues while we talk. But also, we all have different beliefs, and somebody might message us saying you're horrible for saying social media is a bad place to be. It's a wonderful place to be. We want to hear.
So thank you for listening to our first episode of our Mommy Life Squad podcast.
As my teenage daughter would say, this is probably super cringy, but who cares? Stay tuned for episode 2.